In trigonometry, the acronym SOH CAH TOA can be used to remember how to calculate the sine, the cosine, and the tangent of an angle in a right triangle. So let's say we have this right triangle over here, and by the way, a right triangle just means that one of the angles is a 90-degree angle, which is indicated with this little box right here. Let's say that we want to find the sine of this angle right here. We'll call it theta. How can we find the sine of theta? Well, according to the acronym SOH CAH TOA, to calculate the sine, we need to take the length of the opposite side divided by the length of the hypotenuse, which I've also written right here. So the sine of theta is calculated as the opposite side. So if we have this angle right here, the opposite side of the triangle is all the way over here. So that's a 4. And then we divide that by the length of the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle right here, which has a length of 5. So the sine of this angle right here is just 4/5, or 4/5. All right, what about if we want to calculate the cosine of that angle? Well, according to SOH CAH TOA, the cosine is calculated as the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse, which I've also written right here. So the adjacent side to this angle would be this side right here that it's actually touching. So that's a 3 divided by the hypotenuse. So again, the hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle. So that's a 5. So the cosine of the angle is equal to 3/5, or 3/5. Now what if we want to calculate the tangent of this angle? Well, the tangent, according to SOH CAH TOA, is calculated as the opposite side divided by the adjacent side. So we'll say the tangent of theta is the opposite side, so that's a 4, divided by the adjacent side, which is this side that it touches right here. So 4 divided by 3. So the tangent of theta is 4/3. All right, let's try another example. Let's say we have this right triangle. We're told that this angle is 50 degrees. The hypotenuse of the triangle is 7, and we want to figure out what is this side length, which we'll call x. So to do that with SOH CAH TOA, all we're going to ask ourselves are what side lengths are involved in this problem. So we know we have the opposite side of the angle, which is O in our acronym, and we are also given the hypotenuse, which is the H in our acronym. So which one of these three have O and H in the acronym? Well, that would be this first one right here, the S, which stands for sine. So what we can say is the sine of the angle, which we're told is 50 degrees, must be equal to the opposite side, so x, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 7. So we can use a little bit of algebra to solve for x. So if we multiply both sides by 7, we get 7 times the sine of 50 degrees is equal to x. So if you punch this into a calculator, 7 times the sine of 50 degrees, you get about 5.36. So x is equal to a length of 5.36. All right, let's try this example. Let's say we have this right triangle. We're told that this angle is 22 degrees. This side length is 5, and we want to figure out what is this side length, which we'll call x. Well, let's see what sides we're working with. So the side that is opposite of the 22-degree angle, we're told is 5. So we know we're going to use O, the opposite side. And then the other side right here that touches this angle, this is the adjacent side. Because remember, this longest side right here is the hypotenuse, so this must be the adjacent side. So we're working with the opposite and the adjacent, or the O and the A. So in our acronym, we can see that the tangent of the angle uses O and A, so we'll need to use the tangent to solve this problem. So what we can say is the tangent of 22 degrees is equal to, the definition said is the opposite side over the adjacent side. So the opposite side is 5, and the adjacent side is x. So again, we'll use a little bit of algebra to solve for x. So if we multiply both sides by x, we get x times the tangent of 22 degrees is equal to 5. And we can divide both sides by the tangent of 22 degrees to get x. So x will be equal to 5 divided by the tangent of 22 degrees. Now, if you punch in 5 divided by the tangent of 22 degrees into a calculator, you find that x is equal to about 12.375. So that is the side length of x. All right, let's try one last example. Let's say we have this right triangle. We're told that this angle is 71 degrees. This side length is 4, and we want to figure out what this side length is, x. So let's see what sides we're working with. So for this angle, This side right here is the adjacent side because it's the side that's touching the angle, and this side, x, is the hypotenuse of the triangle. So we have adjacent, which is A in our acronym, and hypotenuse, which is H. So which of these has the A and H? That would be this one right here, the cosine. So we're going to use the cosine in this example. So we can say the cosine of 71 degrees is equal to, the definition says it's the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent side is 4 divided by the hypotenuse, which is x. So to solve for x, we can multiply both sides by x. So we get x times the cosine of 71 degrees is equal to 4. And to solve for x, we just need to divide both sides by the cosine of 71 degrees. So we get x is equal to 4 divided by the cosine of 71 degrees. If you punch that into a calculator, you find that x is equal to about 12.286. So that is the side length of x. So those were just a few examples of how you can use the acronym SOH CAH TOA to solve for side lengths and missing angles in a right triangle.